Hello, 'tis I, Fat Cow. We have now entered the proverbial, although flipped, calm after the storm. Because Foodie is now eating whatever the F she wants, as long as it's cheap. Which just goes to show what we've known all along. When it comes to food, Foodie prefers quantity over quality. Now, it's probably a good thing, because good quality food that is made with care and attention, food that is catered towards a more sophisticated palate, let's say, would be completely lost on Foodie, because without a condiment, sauce or gravy of some sort, apparently food doesn't exist in Shantopolis. If tomorrow we woke up and there was no such thing as a condiment, a sauce, a gravy or a dressing, I think Foodie would literally implode. And in the event of an apocalypse where all of us would be struggling just to want to find food to eat, Foodie would be wanting to find junk food to eat only, and having come across a rare Wagyu steak would probably turn her nose up at it and prefer probably a jar of pasta sauce or some bisto gravy. I want to suggest, and I've given this some thought, and by some thought I mean about 5 minutes, because that's as much time as I'm prepared to dedicate to Foodie outside of actually recording and preparing stuff, of course. I have come up with the ideal cheap as chips, if you know that phrase, meal, let's say, for Foodie that covers all her requirements. Take an entire baguette. Get a block, not the ones you buy, the little rectangles, but an actual proper block of salted butter. Make sure it's really chilled. Cut it into thick slices and place in sandwich. Don't try to spread it onto the bread, just put it in the sandwich as if it was cheese, that kind of thing. Add pickles for crunch, and then as much mayonnaise as the sandwich can handle, pretty much. Then get a cup of Santa Fe sauce to dip said butter and pickle sandwich in, and there you go. A meal that covers pretty much every requirement Foodie needs in a dish. Fat, salt, carbs. We're going to ignore the sugar aspect, because apparently the doctor said if you don't do anything else, just cut out sugar from your diet, which Foodie somewhat appears to have taken to heart. The doctor told me not to do anything but remove sugar from my diet. Seems to be what she heard when the doctor said if you do anything. It's kind of morphed into only do. And it appears to be going relatively well in terms of drinks, though there is some suspicion that maybe a cake or pastry was bought during the McDonald's yesterday, because the live went completely blank and dark for a good 4 or 5 minutes, coincidentally while Foodie was waiting at the McCafe for her McCoffee, allegedly to go to the toilet, but unusually enough, and for the first time ever in the history of going to the toilet in public while in Kuwait, the needing to go to the public was neither announced nor were we taken on the journey with her, and then see Foodie's reflection in the mirror, which seems to be the status quo when it comes to bathroom visits. No, we were completely kept in the dark on mute, which isn't suspicious at all. So let's deviate from my recommendations for the ideal food for Foodie. Foodie thinks expensive food, pretentious food, let's say, is pointless and gets unreasonably angry about it. Now, we're not talking about the 5-star Michelin kind of foods where you spend $30 or $40 on an appetizer and get presented a cherry tomato that has been breathed upon by the head chef and garnished with the dandruff of the King of France, for example. No, we're talking about 15 KD for a burger. It's a good thing, actually, because high quality food that is presented with care and attention would be completely wasted on Foodie, because Foodie, well, let's say the proverbial proverb that Foodie applies to her Beezers and her viewers, that she prefers quality over quantity, which is all well and good when you have no choice about the quantity of people you have and you can't really describe them with the correct words, so quality kind of fits in to save face, let's say. When it comes to food, it's less of a case of less is more and more of a case of more is more. Give Foodie a jar of Bisto gravy and a tea kettle full of hot water, and she'd be the proverbial pig in mud, or gravy as a mud substitute, for a good half a day. Maybe. Or maybe it's a snack, but who knows? Foodie doesn't exactly have what one would call a discernible palate. She's not exactly an Epicurean, a gourmet, somebody qualified to review food in any way, shape or form. I mean, to be honest, as long as it was covered with some sort of condiment or sauce, you could probably get Foodie to eat the sponge you clean the dishes with. She calls herself and her channel Foodie Beauty, but Foodie is not a foodie, and I'm not going to talk about the beauty part. Foodie should rebrand herself, be slightly less disingenuous with, the kind of content she's providing us. It's less Foodie Beauty and more Stuff It McNuffit or Bingy Wingy or Eaty Diabetes. That kind of thing would be more representative of her brand. What I'm saying is, Foodie, you're not a foodie channel. You are a mukbang channel or mukbang channel. You're a channel where people watch you stuff your face with extremely cheap, unappetizing food in bulk. We're not here for the conversation that goes with the food, because quite frankly your conversational skills are somewhat tragic. We're not here for your weight loss journey, because your weight loss journey, much like Never Ending Story or The Labyrinth, is fictional. We are not here for your stunning personality and wit, because you have neither. We're here because we literally cannot believe One, that a person of your caliber, let's say, exists. Two, I would imagine most of us have some interest in criminal psychology and true crime, because watching you feels similar to watching documentaries about serial killers. And also because we literally cannot believe how you're still alive, to be honest. You're an anomaly. You are a medical miracle. You are Arthur C. Clarke's mysterious world. You're the human equivalent of who built the pyramids. Does the Loch Ness monster exist? The Yeti, alien abduction. You are a myth in human form. We don't understand you. We can't comprehend you. And although you should have gone extinct, you still endure. You call me weird. Well, sweetheart, you're the eighth fucking wonder of the world. You are the personification of the question, is Elvis still alive? Do lizards run the government? You just don't make sense. You shouldn't exist. You're, I don't know, maybe you're proof that there are parallel universes and different dimensions. I mean, you don't make sense. How are you still functioning? And why does YouTube not get rid of you? Honestly, you're going down in history books as just one of those unexplained thingamajigs that children read about. And so, Salah has finally realised that no matter how hard he tries to encourage Foodie to get healthy, and how much he attempts to control her eating habits, it is at the expense of his sanity. If he wants Foodie to get healthy, he has to exchange, like one would sell their soul to the devil, his sanity, his peace of mind, his dignity, his reputation, his any sense of peace in his life. He has to exchange for the possibility of Foodie getting better. Because if Foodie tries in any way to deviate from what she actually wants to eat, she will, literally and metaphorically, bite his fucking balls off. Foodie is like that advert for Snickers where they say you're not yourself when you're hungry, but conversely, Foodie is exactly herself when she's hungry, and therefore, Salah, I suggest buying Snickers in bulk. Life with Foodie, when Foodie doesn't get the Foodie wants, must be literal hell. And one has to think about whether the getting a person healthy while completely destroying yourself psychologically and emotionally is worth it. And given that Salah is desperate to get to Canada, has already invested over 2 years in this, and knows the only way he's going to get to Canada is if Foodie survives long enough to do so, he must be questioning, is Canada worth your sanity, Salah? You are exchanging Canada for your sanity, your mental health, your psychology, your emotional stability. And believe me when I tell you this, the amount of stress your body and your brain is going through currently, and the longer it goes on, the greater the possibility that you will come out of this with a chronic illness that you will suffer from for the rest of your life, and that will greatly diminish your quality of life increases. Is Canada worth your sanity, your peace of mind, and your physical health? Think about it.